Hi friends, today I am narrating a summary from the book The Gap and the Gain by Benjamin Hardy. You're in the gap every time you measure yourself or your situation against an ideal. And while ideals are meant to provide direction, motivation, and meaning to our lives, they are not the measuring stick. Being in the gain means you measure yourself backward, against where you were before. You measure your own progress. You don't compare yourself to something external. You don't measure yourself against your ideals. The gap is based on an unhealthy need or attachment to something outside of yourself. You're trying to free yourself from something, and until you do, you won't be happy. When you're in the gap, you're avoiding here while trying to get there but never actually arriving there. By contrast, the gain is based on being in harmony with what you want and knowing that you don't need it. When you're in the gain, you live your life based on intrinsic motivation and harmonious passion, which creates flow and high performance. This enables you to commit 100% and pursue what you want without unhealthy attachments.
Some journaling questions need to ask yourself. Are there any areas in your life where you have obsessive passion? If so, what unresolved internal need are you trying to fill? What about your life and work do you love? What is the long game? When you are playing the long game, you are doing what you love. You are not doing something just to get somewhere else. Do you have a long enough timetable to truly slow down and enjoy being there? Are you trying to quickly get there? Look at your life right now and what are all the gains you can think of? How could your priorities change if you are playing the long game? Be self-determined. External reference points make it impossible to feel successful because no matter what you have done, the success criteria are always moving. Get out of the gap and into the gain means you have made yourself own reference point. The gap means your life is determined by someone or something external. The gain means you are living a self-determined life. When your reference point is internal, you make the final call on what success means to you, regardless of what other people think. When your reference point is internal, happiness and success are always right here and right now. So in order to make this successful, some journaling questions need to ask yourself, what are the reference points you measure yourself against? Why did you choose those particular reference points? How do you define and measure success for yourself? Are the reference points you measure yourself against external or internal? How often do you compare yourself to others? How much time do you spend on social media? Are you self-determined and free? The compound effect, the gap or the gain. Being in the gap creates a negative compound effect in your life. But being in the gain creates a positive compound effect in your life. Hardy explains that the gap and the gain is a useful tool because there's a language for it. Explain the gap and the gap concept to those you love and give them permission to call you out when you go into that gap. Psychologists have found that practicing mental subtraction, meaning and thinking of the absence of the good things in your life can make you appreciate them more, to remind yourself of the gains in your life. Start using the gain and the gap language in the following manner. Call yourself out when you catch yourself in the gap. Immediately look for and vocalize the gain. Tell 5 people you know and love about the gap and the gain. If you choose so, get them a copy of this book so that you can live more in the gain themselves. Give those 5 people permission to call you out when you are in the gap. Help others seek and appreciate their own gains more by asking them about their recent progress, pointing out to them their progress. It can be very humbling and empowering to have someone recognize or point out your progress. Be that person who acknowledges other people's gain. When you are in a difficult situation, help yourself and others find that particular gain. Rather than being upset, you could ask, what is the gain in this? Or how could we turn this into a gain? Always measure backward. It is easy to forget about your gains because your memories are always reconstructed in the present based on your current perspective. Hardy recommends journaling or doing an annual review to tap back into the context of your former self and see the massive gains. Being reminded of the easily forgotten past boosts your hope, motivation, confidence, and resilience. You're not the exact same person you were in the past. You have evolved and grown a lot, even in the past 90 days. Take some time regularly to measure your gains for different time frames and remember, always measure backwards. Some journaling questions need to ask yourself, like, where am I right now? What are my wins from the past 90 days? What are my desired wins for the next 90 days? Where I will be in next 12 months? Where will be I in 3 years from now? Measure 3 daily wins. What you do during the 60 minutes before bed has an enormous impact on your sleep quality as well as the direction and quality of your next day. Reactivity begets reactivity. If you are staring at your phone before bed, mindlessly scrolling or consuming, not only will you sleep worse, but you will continue the same unhealthy, addictive behavior the next day. Write in your journal 3 wins from that day. Then write down 3 biggest wins you will get the next day. No more than 3. Do this every day for the rest of your life. Pearson's law states when performance is measured, performance improves. When performance is measured and reported, the rate of improvement accelerates. Having a daily accountability partner combines tracking and reporting. Keep your accountability partnership simple. It should not take more than 2 minutes per day. Transform every experience into a gain. Being in the gain is not simply about seeing life on the bright side. Being in the gain is about taking every experience in life that throws at you and transforming it to a serve purpose that life requires. When you are in the gap, you ask yourself, why did this happen? And as a victim, when you are in the gain, you control the meaning of your past. You cherish your past and use it as a precious feedback for clarifying what you really and truly want and value. Being in the gain is an approach motivated way of life, and it enables you to turn every valley into a future peak. Being in the gain empowers you to take any experience and be better and not bitter. Some journaling questions you need to ask yourself. Think about any specific experience, positive or negative, and ask yourself, what about this experience worked? What usefulness can you get from this experience to improve your future? What can you learn from this experience about what you don't want? Knowing what you know now because you have had this experience, how will you approach your future differently? What about this experience are you grateful for this? If you're interested to watch such inspirational and knowledgeable summaries which can transform your life, then hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more updates.